Hey Keith, Will Heath here. Hey man, how's it going? What are you up to?
It's it's going beautiful. We're here in the Philippines, just doing everything God has told us to do, rescuing these precious children. So, and growing a lot of lettuce.
Growing a lot of lettuce. That's funny.
Yes.
Hey, so right at the time of this call, it is right now when we're talking, it is 3:13 p.m. Central Standard Time. What time is it where you are in the Philippines?
So it's five, right at five a.m. 5:15.
Right at 5 a.m. So you're getting
Yes,
up early, having your morning coffee with these kind folks at the Cross Church that will be watching this video. Are you
correct.
are you normally are you an early riser like this, or do you prefer evening?
No, my alarm goes off at 3:16, John 3:16 every morning. So we
Okay.
get up and just start seeking the Lord. I've been doing that for a long time. Just a friend of mine, their alarm went off one day and at 3:16, and she said, "Oh, I get up 3:16 in the morning and in the afternoon." So we've been doing that. So
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Now, my somebody that's watching this, if you can reach out to us and figure out the time conversion on that. So 3:13 p.m. to 5:13
14,
a.m.
yeah.
Somebody do the math on that and let us know. I'm trying to do the math in my brain right now. So hey Keith, man, give us an insight into just a couple of questions here. The first one being, man, how is God as a missionary? You're like a professional holy person, right? Like work for Jesus directly. So, man, you've been walking with the Lord now for how long?
Gosh, I came to the Lord at the Cross Church when I was 16 years old.
Yeah, how old are you?
58 years old.
Wow.
So
So, man, you're coming up on you just passed your 40th anniversary as walking with the Lord. So, man, 4 decades in, how is God working in you?
uh, right now, he's basically telling me just to believe him for more. And the last year, just continue to work on prayer and just believing God. So I've read E.M. Bounds' book again on the complete works on E.M. Bounds on prayer,
Okay.
and just believing God. But a lot of times to believe God, we have to go. God walks us through some impossible situations,
Hmm.
so that it can be seen that it's really God and it's not us. And so we constantly have those before us here. And so just
Give us an example, Keith, of something that put some flesh and bone on that. What's something specifically that you guys are that the circumstance is stretching y'all's faith and you're really having to cast your faith towards the Lord?
where there's a lot of them. There's we need a home for our ladies. So we have 24 ladies that we're renting a home right now, because the way we care for all of our children, and we do one-on-one care. And the ladies, my lead lady, our caregiver mom is what we call them. She came to me and said, Keith, the ladies are getting real tired because they're working 12-hour days, and then it's taking about an hour to get back home, and then an hour to get back to the orphanage.
Wow.
And so we're asking God to provide a place right on the orphanage property. And so I've really been looking into that and praying about it. And that's one of the things that man is going before the board and asking if we could actually build a property like a small apartment, maybe 2-story, so
Okay.
that we can house those 24 ladies there.
So they're working 12-hour days. They are
Correct.
commuting 2 hours a day. So 12 plus 2 is 14. So that leaves them another 10 hours in their day for personal time, connecting with their friends and family and sleep.
Correct. Correct.
Wow.
So a lot of them. It's 6 days a week. Some of them it's 5 days a week. After they've been with us 3 years, then they're on 5 days a week. And
Wow.
so I would say probably 15, 18 of those ladies are on 5 days a week because they've been with us this long. Yeah. So that's just believing God for that. And so God lays it on your heart, and he tells you, no, you ask, and you keep asking, you keep seeking, you keep knocking on the Father's door, and everyone who asks will receive, everyone who knocks, the door will be open to them, and when you seek, you will find. And so that's what we're doing, and we're not going to give up until God opens that door. So
Either opens the door or gives us the grace of a different question to ask, and we can go knocking on that door.
that's correct. That's correct. That's
Right.
correct.
Give us some insight into, I'm sure you could think about this and talk about this for a while, but give us one specific area where you see God tangibly at work in the ministry there.
Yeah. So one of them was operations is very expensive. And we have sought several times to maybe cut back, like even turn some children away that are being offered to us. And the government just calls us and tells us we have this child from here, this child was being abused, or this child was trafficked. And so every time we've done that, it's like the Lord has laid on us that we are just to believe Him and continue to do the work that He's called us to do. For the past 2 years, the government has come in and given us the award of Orphanage of the Year, and there are
And for the last how many years?
2 years, the last 2 years,
The last two
and
years,
that's
orphanage of
pretty
the
huge
year in the Philippines.
in our region. So basically,
Okay.
all of Luzon, so the whole Manila, all of that.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
and so there's a lot of orphanages here, and so that's huge. And they've come to us, and they're saying, whatever you're doing, it is working, because all of your children that have been placed into families, not one of them is not adjusting well, and their development is on par. And so that's why we're doing the care that we're doing. It's a TBRI, and so
What
like,
is
right.
you say that? That's like insider language for you, right? You said
It's actually from Texas. And it stands for trust-based relational intervention, and it's a type of care that teaches you how to connect with children, and how to minister to them the best, so that they begin to heal and they can begin to develop like they should. And all of our children are from severe trauma situations. And so when we get them, they are severely traumatized, maybe sometimes a year, where they can't even relax their hands, and they're just screaming all the time.
So I'm trying to get my head around that. So there's so much trauma in the situation they're coming out of that their body is literally just like seizing up muscular wise.
Correct. Or, their mother was on drugs, so they're going through like a detox. The children are. So a lot of them are just in cold sweats and shaking, and so it's just taking those children and praying over them and working with them every day. And we're talking infants, okay? And so when we adopt these children out, they're normally 18 months, 2 years, 3 years old when we adopt them out. In
Yeah.
that time period, they are beautiful children. They're running around. They're completely healed. God is just doing just a beautiful work. And the next 2 months, 3 days a week, I will be doing training with all of our moms. So each day I take, 6 of our moms, and I train them in TBRI for the next 2 months. So each week, like every Wednesday, I'd train a set of moms. And then on Thursday, I'd train a set of moms. On Friday, I train a set of moms.
Okay.
So that they understand how TBRI works,
Okay.
and how you minister to these children.
Man, that's amazing. So just remind us then, how old are the children when you receive them? And then they're typically adopted out around that 18-month age. But how old are they when they come to you?
Yeah, they're normally newborn, and so they're
Days old.
2 hours, days old. They're normally, and our children are found. They have been abused. They are left. Several of our children we are getting from traffic ministries. So they're babies that are actually being online sex trafficking, and that's hard to believe that you would do that with a baby, but
So
they do.
they're not the babies of women that have been trafficked, but they're babies that are actually being sexualized.
Yes, and I don't want to go into the details on that, but
Crazy.
and these like the last one we got was 8 months old. And she was terrified of any man that walked into the room.
Of course.
and
Of
and
course.
now it's been what, almost 3 years now, and she loves me. She loves, and she has no remembrance of that, but she would literally just scream if any man walked into the room.
Wow.
As an 8-month-old. And so there's some crazy things going on out there. So, and that's why God called us into this ministry. So
Thank you for shining the light of Jesus into very dark situations.
and that's why a lot of times when we do send prayer requests in, we won't put the child's name, like we might put C or CL, so that that, because the perpetrators might be looking for us, and we need to protect those children.
Yeah.
So that's why that. So
yeah. Hey, give us kind of pivot here a little bit. I think last year, the year before, you had this crazy idea of putting an aquaponics project in place so you can start growing food, and our church was a part of that. Where's that project now?
it's going very well, and so but that has been a walk of faith also. We started 2 months ago is when we finally started harvesting the lettuce, and we're harvesting we do it in grams, so we do about 50,000 grams a week of lettuce. So that's about 100 and over that, but that's around 110, 150 pounds a week of lettuce. And when that started out, I was like, Lord, I can't be running around with heads of lettuce. This is crazy, and I can't transport this. How do I do this? In America, you buy a salad mix. And so I prayed about it, and I was like, why don't I make a salad mix out of this? And so we're actually selling it higher at a higher price than you can buy it at the grocery stores, because we're selling a salad mix, and nobody sells salad mix here. And so everybody and so we have a huge missionary community here. So at Faith Academy, there's about 600 missionary kids.
Oh,
so
wow.
That's about 300 something families. And so, and we only have about 60 of those families that are buying from us right now. And they've all said, this is the best lettuce we've had. But we're having to move that greenhouse now, because if we built it on a place, because I just wanted to see if this was going to work. And so we're having to move it to our orphanage on our property where our orphanage is. Okay. That's another request that we're presenting to Manna to see if they'll allow us to put it on the orphanage property. Okay. And so be praying for us for that, because if that's not going to happen, then I'm going to have to shut it down. And so, but that also is going to cost us to move that. So we have to take it apart here and move it over there. And that would be the most feasible thing to do. But it's right now it's producing, it's bringing in about $1,000 to $1,500 a month in revenue, and we're just using a partial amount of what we could do. So
meaning words, like sorry to interrupt, but your output capacity, meaning what you could potentially grow, the total volume is much more than what you're currently producing.
Correct. It could be okay. Like 2 months ago, I was actually going to close it down, because we're extremely busy, Non and I are. And I was like, Lord, I can't do this. And God brought me a Filipino worker who was actually going to go to Korea and do hydroponics. He was already studying Korean to go to Korea and do hydroponics. And God brought him to us, and he said, and we hired him. So he's been working for us the last 2 months, and he knows everything. So I don't even have to train him or teach him. So he already knows it, and so he's running it now. And that's a lot of times that's how God works. You come up to another impossibility, and then God shows up, and it shows you that God is in this and that you're still on the right path. And
so God puts on your heart. So God puts on your heart to do an aquaponics project.
And it seemed crazy because there's not one aquaponics here that's successful. I researched them, and they're all, and it is a high risk, but God calls us to high risk.
but then, as an answer to your prayer, like there's not a track record of any success with these things, and out of nowhere, the Lord brings you a person that has a heart for the Lord, knows how to do it, and here you go. And now man. What an amazing story, Keith. What an amazing story.
So his name's Redden, but we're going to start meeting and start praying over it. Yeah, he's in love with the Lord. So it's just
that's awesome.
amazing how God did that. So God goes before us. So yeah, we're only tapping into a little bit.
Okay.
And so, right now it's bringing in 1,000, a little bit over 1,000 a month. So that could be 2,000, 3,000 if we just, doubled it or
But you'd have
tripled
to
what we're.
move it. So the next question I was going to ask you was, how can we be praying for you? Is this a specific way we can be praying for you? Is just to get permission from Manna, the leadership at Manna, to move the aquaponics project, or is there something else you would like us to be praying about?
Yes, actually two things. I'm gonna give you two instead of one.
Okay.
This aquaponics,
No,
of
no, no.
course.
We only pray for one thing at a time. No, go ahead. Yeah. What are
The
they?
aquaponics, of course, and then that God would just continue to give us wisdom on how to set it up best, and that we would just be faithful, and that He would give us favor with Manna and to move it onto the property, and that even above that, that we would be able to find a home for our moms near the orphanage. So we have those 24 moms that we really need to desperately move them. And so we're really praying that they can also be moved onto that property and build like a little 2-story. It would be about $80,000 to $100,000 to build a big enough place for 24 ladies to live in. So
Is that that's material and labor, or is that just material?
that would labor's not much here. So it's $10 a day for labor. So
Wow. Okay.
that would,
So that's
yeah,
material.
and that's a real low budget on as far as materials, because materials are so expensive right now.
Okay.
But we would just do it as cheaply as possible. But just having a place right there would really help the ministry a lot, because it's really stressing these ladies out in traveling so much,
Yeah.
14 hours a day. So
Man, they're serving the Lord, serving those kids, man. It's such an important way to serve them by
yeah.
making their life easier. Hey Keith, thanks so much for your time and giving us an update and